Last episode, we've talked about the nature mastery with all its strengths and weaknesses. And one of the weaknesses is the wolves dying to bosses too quickly. The rogue mastery will also be played as petmaster, so it makes sense to compare these two. First off, you cannot get your traps until you've put 10 points into the rogue thermometer. That is not a big deal, because we can use the envenom weapon skill for the early game. We combine that with a quick thrown weapon to gain some range and attack speed. The damage output in the early game is insane. Even the poison resisting skeletons just before Sparta go down very quickly. And as we reach level 4 on the Spartan road, we find leather leggings of travel with 14% movement speed, which is the highest you can get from the off-travel suffix. Unfortunately, we have to fight Nessus without the help of a shrine, but the poisoned Lagerbolon still makes quick work of the centaur and his friends. An arcane formula from the Majestic Chest supports us financially, like both of my Twitch subs do. Thanks guys. So we have enough money to buy a Beast Caller's ring and a medium pack of rice from Lidl. Something you cannot find in your local discounter is the Staff of the Magi, but in this run we get one from a setter mage just outside Tegea. You all know what this means: reduced recharge time. Doesn't do anything right now, but will help with spamming the traps. I can assure you though that this is not as big of a bonus as in the Rune and Earth run. I again decide to kill the Cyclops, and from that fight we get a draining throwing knife of destruction and some more valuable items that we can sell at the Master Weaponsmith. I think I've said it a few times already, but this guy will pay you 50% more for your items than any other merchant. We will need the money later, because Alastor is immune to poison, and I'd like to at least have the opportunity to deal damage to him. Our stinky poisonous weapon is still enough to kill the Gorgons, so after pulling Uriel away from her sisters like... nah, too inappropriate. We kill the Gorgons one by one, although I could have probably tackled Medusa and Steno at the same time. It is safer this way. After this fight, we can sell off more items and buy our second Beast Caller's ring. We enter Athens at level 9 and spend 60,000 gold for the respec into the lay trap skill. That brings our traps to level 15, which makes the fight against Alastor the easiest in the single mastery speedrun series so far. We set the 3 traps, take out the smaller skeletons, and Alastor follows soon after. Even if we had lost a trap in the process, we could simply resummon it, as the recharge time of the late trap skill is quite low. And somewhere in another video I can hear the 3 wolves from the nature run crying. Speaking of crying mammals, it is time to fight the Minotaur. And you all know how to fight him effectively by now, right? Well, apparently I do not, as I didn't buy a scroll of the breaking wheel for this fight. And although we don't exactly need one, it would have sped up this fight by a lot. Which is kind of the point of a speedrun. I managed to get hit by the freezing traps a lot. I managed to place my trap in a way that it gets killed by a freezing trap. I managed to stay alive, but I managed this fight very poorly. The fight against the Telkin is much quicker. After we take out the 4 damage sponges, the Telkin has no chance to withstand our 3 bolt traps. In Rakotis we can finally buy a Beast Caller's necklace, our 3rd and final petmaster jewelry. And we can put it to the test in the library. Although the necklace is absolutely terrible at reading books or even toilet signs, it helps our traps to kill the scarab. And you might see a pattern emerging. Every fight will now look the same. Throw traps, run around for a bit, and you're done. The Beast of Legend is the next candidate to make this shocking experience, and with the level up, we can start investing points in the rapid construction skill so we can construct the traps even rapider. The first chance to use the rapider traps is in the Great Sphinx. The Pharaoh's Honor Guards, also known as damage sponges 5 to 8, tank lots of bolts but are relatively harmless. I should have activated the statues one by one, so that the traps survive a bit longer. Although the time loss is not too big because we can rebuild the traps quite quickly. Then, again, after acquiring the Hand of Balance, we need to convince Nehebkau to give up the Eye of Chaos. And for that, we use the high natural charisma of the Blade Trap. Nehebkau gets convinced almost instantly, so we grab the eye and get back to the old man Imhotep in Memphis, whose intellectual skills, as he admits himself, were lackluster lately.
I was a fool.
We then search for a cuneiform tablet in the Tomb of Ramses, but only find the second Telkin. It is great that we found a Shrine of Mastery just before the fight, so our bolt traps in this fight are at the maximum level of 20. The fight is as trivial as it could be. We set our 3 traps and tank the fiery orbs of the Telkin. And by the way, the cuneiform tablet is not required to continue. We are off to our last opponent for this act, the Sandwraith Lord. And I still have 2 scrolls of the Breaking Wheel left, so I use one of them, which deals a good chunk of damage to this deserty demon. The bolt traps finished the job, sent the deserty demon to the dumpster and our tender trapper to the east. Okay, enough with the alliterations. The charming Chimera comes... No, just kidding. Just like the wolves, our traps are rather weak against the Chimera's attack, especially the Fire Breath, which has a huge range and covers a large area of the battlefield, takes out many of our bolt traps. We use the last blade trap we have here, and it is also a bit underwhelming. So all in all, it takes some time to get the lion goat snake down. Like with the last build, I wanted to kill the Gargantuan Yeti. Which in retrospect, I'm not sure is worth it. And it wouldn't be a proper speedrun of mine without my signature death, which we get right here. A Neanderthal trapper catches me, big oof. Costs me almost a full minute and a run past the Yeti because sod him. I skip every other side quest, even the Hermit Mage, because I inexplicably just forget that his burned down house exists. But we've got all we need to finish this run. Against the Yaoguai I try to place the traps in a way that the angry bull doesn't damage them, which I'm not too successful with. So this fight takes a bit longer than it had to. Its fire area of effect kills the traps relatively quickly, which is to be expected, but still avoidable if you play this fight better. In the end, it is a fight without too much danger, because we don't have to stand still for too long at a time. The Chang'an exit is a stage of the speedrun I haven't ever touched upon too much. This time I do, because we collect our second death for this run. But we carry on towards Typhon's prison. Orminos, the third Telkin, frees Typhon and then faces us and our trio of bolt traps. We yell at the floating octopus so that it leaves our traps alone, then run around frantically in a circle like I once did when I burned my hand on an old rusty nail which had lain in a fire for a few hours. True story, but I will not give any further information. Unlike the fire and the pain, the Telkin disappears in a circular void and we can use the mysterious portal to get to the Olympus. And who would have thought that this fight is one of the easiest Typhon fights you can ever get. The traps rarely get hit by Typhon, and even if Typhon got them with the life leech, they wouldn't give him any health back. So it is once again time to run in a circular motion until the big bully is bolted down. We finish this run with a time of 1:23:20, which makes me put the Rogue Mastery into B tier. This is an incredibly easy run, you don't have to have much skill to complete it. And Venom Weapon is good enough until Athens, and the bolt traps will do the heavy lifting after that. We haven't had the best movement speed, which makes me think that you might be able to get a time close to the Earth Mastery's time. But as it stands, the Rogue Mastery sits solidly in B tier. Next up, Warfare.